I'm going to call this meeting to order. If everyone would rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and welcome to the May 16th meeting of the Town Council of Cathlamet. Move to proclamations, item number 5, and we're going to hear the proclamation and then see it in person very, very shortly. So, does council, is there any objection to me just reading the proclamation? It's amazingly short, but it is heartfelt on our side. This is proclamation number 2022-07. It recognizes June 4th as International Underwater Robotics Day in honor of the Wahkiakum and Nacelle High School teams. Whereas the International Sea Perch Challenge, sponsored by the Office of Naval Research, will be held at the University of Maryland, June 4th to 5th, 2022. And whereas underwater robotics teams from Wahkiakum High School and Nacelle Grays River High School competed in a qualifying event held at the Julia Butler Hansen Pool in Cathlamet, April 15th, 2022. And whereas the Wahkiakum High School Mecha Mules Apollo 18 team, coached by Brian Heston, took first place overall. And the Nacelle Grays River Bubbleheads team, coached by Nathan Bruce, took second place overall. And whereas each team was judged on how quickly the robot they designed and programmed would complete the obstacle course, how many tasks the robot could complete in the allotted time in the mission course, and on their video and their technical report explaining their engineering design process. And whereas many local volunteers and organizations helped make the regional competition a success, including the Wahkiakum Amateur Radio Club, the Wahkiakum School District, Wahkiakum 4-H, the Wahkiakum Steam Booster Club, and Georgia Pacific Wana Mill. And whereas the Mecha Mules and the Bubbleheads teams, after judging, were notified they were finalists for the International Sea Perch Challenge, and both teams will be heading to Maryland, June 4th to 5th, to compete with more than 100 teams from all over the world. Now, therefore, as mayor, it's a great honor to me. I do hereby proclaim that the town of Cathlamet designates June 4th, 2022, as International Underwater Robotics Day in the town of Cathlamet, and joins everyone in wishing success to the Wahkiakum and Nacelle High School teams. And with that, may I ask a representative to come forward and receive the proclamation, please? There you are. Congratulations. We have some internal business consent calendar to get through, and then we look forward to hearing from you. And I would like to recognize Ron Wright and Arwen for this presentation. Please come forward.
So we have pamphlets.
We're going to turn this over to Arwen. She's our team captain.
Arwen, team captain. Welcome.
Wait, excuse me, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Wright, can you come up, please, real quick? I know you all want to. Indulge me for a minute?
Sure.
When Mr. Wright asked my wife and I to be one of the adjudicators for your competition, he made a bet with the team that if they won, they could push him in the water. Well, I told Mr. Wright if they won, I'd buy his team polo shirts. And so I did.
Wow.
Mr. Wright, you got a blue one. Come get it. Yeah, really, it's okay. And it's embroidered with the with all your stuff there. And for they have some
wonderful
13 of these or 14 of these plain t-shirts also with Mecca on them that they'll be for sale probably for about 15 bucks, but it's got a limited number. So I talked to Ron, and these are for the team. They're polo shirts, again with a young lady. You want to? No, this is probably too big for you. It's 2XL. I have the rest in the box.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Stowe, thank you so
Look
much.
good. Look good for us when you get your questions.
Bravo.
So
Arlen, you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Marvin Haney. I'm a sophomore at the high school, and I'm this year's Perch captain.
Welcome, Captain Haney.
Thank you. We wanted to give a presentation to the council because we've received so much support from the team or from the town, and we wouldn't have been able to make it as far as we have without everyone cheering us on and helping us to get there. And we wanted to kind of showcase what we've been doing to give an example. So we're using your guys' support to accomplish things.
Good.
So I have pamphlets that Emmeline and Annalise are going to talk about. These kind of give an overview of what we do, and then we'll start off with a presentation about our earlier season with FTC, and I believe Micah and Annalise will cover that.
Thank you very much.
Again, thank you so much for all the support. We've been able to do a lot of things with the team. I've been in robotics since I was in elementary school, and this is by far the most successful year I've ever been a part of. And it's amazing to see how far we can get and how much we can accomplish. Especially coming from such a small area, getting to be up there with those big teams and going to Maryland, all across the country, it's super cool. Thank you so much. Annalise?
Hi, my name is Michael Johnson. I'm a homeschooler but a senior, and
I'm Annalise Vick. I'm a 6th grader.
Right. Mike and Annalie, welcome.
we're going to talk about our FTC year before our Perch at the beginning of this year. I'm going to start off by explaining a little bit about the competition, and feel free to butt in with any questions you have at any given time.
Okay, thank you.
So FTC stands for First Tech Challenge. It's a competition that reaches international level. We only made it to state, but this year was the moniker for the whole thing was Freight Frenzy, and it was supposed to imitate, moving freight around. And there was a large obstacle course with different tasks, with different designated tasks that we had to program and build a robot to be able to accomplish, such as moving these cubes from a storage area onto it's a tower with 3 different tiers. And at the beginning of the match, our robot had to run on an autonomous program, which autonomous is where we program the robot to run by itself. This is not the driver control period. We just hit a button and it does what we tell it to do. So it's supposed to move forward with the cube, place it on the tier, and then it's supposed to back up to a carousel, which has a rubber ducky on it. And then we're supposed to spin the rubber ducky off of the carousel, and that's worth a certain amount of points. And after that, we're supposed to go over to the other end of the arena and park in the, they called it a storage house, I believe. And then after that, there's the driver control period, which Peter, Jamie will drive the robot. This was our controller that we used to drive the robot. And then we would drive around and complete such designated tasks as moving blocks from the storage area to either the shared shipping hub, which was another area we could score, but this was shared by both teams, and or the unit with 3 tiers.
Wonderful.
Talk about our design. We had like 4 different driving bases, 3 or 4 different driving bases that we were working on over the summer, and we chose this one because of the big monster truck tires. It could get over the barriers because to get into the storage place, you had to go drive over barriers or drive through a passage, and we were too wide to do that, so we drove over it. A lot of other teams used their brushes that picked up the blocks by sweeping them into a container. And we chose to go with a claw because that's just what we have experience with.
That's great. Were these, if I may, were these challenges or these tasks decided by you or as part of the competition? Who set the task for you to design to? Is my question.
These were tasks given to us by the FTC
Okay.
competition as a whole.
Okay.
They announced it at the beginning of the FTC year, and
Okay.
that's what we were expected to design a robot to do.
Okay. Thank you.
Nice. Micah, did you accomplish your initial expenses yet? Are you still running for the initial expenses, not the play money afterwards, but
For our FTC year?
for
or
your
our
group to
Seaford?
get back on your trip?
To Marilyn. Ron, you want to comment on that?
We had such a great turnout at the car wash.
Yes.
We have met our fundraising objective. We're good.
How
Congratulations.
about your play money?
That's wonderful.
We're covered.
All right,
Thanks,
wonderful.
everybody.
Wonderful. Thank you. Great news.
So that was the FTC. Like they said, we made it to state for that competition. I believe we placed 17th in the state among all the other FTC teams. And then after FTC, within, I think we took a 1 week break off after the state competition, and then we went straight to work on Sea Perch. And Peter and Janie can tell you a little bit about our Sea Perch ROV, which is right there. It looks much different. It's a much different process.
Wow.
than the FTC robot.
You want me to start? Oh. Okay, anyhow, so as you might have seen in the videos that my mom has put out, we have...
Can you introduce yourself?
Oh, yes, sorry. My name is Peter Vick. I'm a sophomore in high school.
Great. Thank you, Peter.
So...
And he's one of our lead drivers.
Great.
This is true. So we had to build an ROV, which is a remote operated vehicle. You have to have a tether on it. Anyhow, we have the ROV has to do an obstacle course, which consists of several hoops about this far in diameter. It has to then drive through the hoops, surface on the other end once it gets through all of them, and then reverse and turn around and come back and to try and get the fastest time. And then we had the mission course, which basically was kind of themed on space this year. And we had to go down, open up a door, or unlatch a door, pull it open, then disconnect the dead batteries, and take those batteries and bring them over to a platform that had new batteries on. We had to keep the batteries on there without knocking them off, take the new batteries and bring them back to where the old batteries are. Now, thankfully we didn't have to reconnect them because that would have been a whole nother job. But the hardest part was the tools. There was 3 tools that we had to take, and they were floating on a hook. So they're floating up here and it had a little loop. Bring them over to the same platform, which had 3 hooks on the side. And basically, they were very hard to maneuver. They would keep anxiety. They would keep falling off our hook here, which we fold up for the obstacle course, but then we push it down when we do the mission course. We'd be floating there, and if we move forward just a little bit, it'd move out of the loop and then float towards the surface, and we'd have to get it back again. And sometimes it even get back here, then get caught in between the propellers up here. So those were a couple of challenges that we had to face. Now, kind of to the design of our robot, we at first we started with a single motor in the back, trying to get it as close to the center as possible, along with the foam to keep it buoyant. We had 2 propellers on the sides as always. We took the original design out of the kind of kit manual because we were new to this, and so we had a similar competition a few years back, but it's quite a bit different. So yeah, we took it out of the manual and we tweaked it for our own design. Made the hood, put Loctite on it, threw zip ties on it, secure. And then connected it through this tether cord all the way back to the control hub, which we can drive it off of. As for success, well, in the first set of competitions, we were only allowed, it was a 5-minute run or something. 5-minute run to get as much done as possible. And Nathan, our other driver who actually drove it in the competition, he managed to get 5 more points than everyone else.
Wow.
just by single action of managing to get the battery to the right place in time. And that's a main part of why the robot won.
Another thing is that for the obstacle course, with the hoops, I think the national record time at the time of the competition was around was it 44 seconds?
44 seconds.
44 seconds, and Peter, he drove the ROV for the obstacle course. He got 46 seconds,
Wow.
Wow,
which was super impressive.
that is very
Very
impressive.
And we were able to take first in the obstacle course as well. And then another part that we don't get to showcase so much because it's kind of a behind the scenes portion of the competition is all of the work that we did with the video, the technical design report. And then there were 2 other optional events for the international competition that we didn't do for this qualifying competition that we decided to do in preparation for going to Maryland. But the thing is, we found out a week before everything was due that it was due in a week. And so I remember getting a call, or I think a text from our coach Amanda, and she said, "Can anyone make it to the school? We need an emergency meeting." And we get there, and she's like, "We have a week to get this all done." And mind you, this took like a month for everything the last time. So we really honed in all of our skills. We took what we had used for the qualifying competition for the team video and the technical design report, and we made small changes to the video, just enough to make it make sense for the international competition. And for the technical design report, we used the previous technical design report as inspiration, but we really mostly redid the entire thing. And the level of improvement between the first and the second was super great. It was super cool to see how we got that out so fast, and everyone just put in a lot of effort and a lot of time. I think one thing that is just super true about our team that Amanda has said is that we work well under pressure.
Right.
Nice.
And so I think our team is really great at getting things done and showing up, putting in that effort. And we're really excited to go to Maryland, and we couldn't have done it without you guys' support. So thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you for your presentation today. I'm sure I join every member of the council in wishing you well, hoping for the best, and being so proud of the effort you have made. Anything else to wrap up, Ron? Or
She said it all. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think one last thing is just
Sure.
to recognize all of our coaches, because
Please.
Brian, Ron, Amanda, Jess, without all of them, we wouldn't have been able to do anything.
Thank you,
They're the ones who
coaches.
showed up and helped us to do what we do now.
Thank you very much. We wish you all success. We want to hear everything up, down, or sideways about how things go.